Entrepreneur Academy Live is back and better than ever. LAL 22 Live. Saturday, November 12th in Novi, Michigan. Join 400 fellow entrepreneurs and learn from some of the best in the industry at this powerful conference that will help you grow your business. Speakers include James Mansky, Mike Andes, Paver Pete, Troy Clogg, Nick Carlson, and Mark Bradley of LMN, just to name a few.
The energy is going to be insane. The electricity is going to be off the hook. And for any of you guys that have been before, you know how awesome the event is.
Your ticket covers access to the conference, lunch on Saturday, and free admission to the Friday night go-kart races. It's going to be so much fun. We'll see you in Novi, Michigan, Saturday, November 12th. LAL 22 Live. Sponsored by Xmark, Ballard Products, Sure Track, Kelly & Sons Trailers, and Yard Book. Grab your ticket now at l'entrepreneuracademy.com.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, guys, super excited about having this great podcast and guest interview for you guys today. We're going to be learning a little bit more about a brand and a couple different product lines that so many of you guys know, use, love, including myself, especially for many, many years now. There's been a couple products that we've used that have been a game changer for our business, and that is none other than Buyers Products. And so we've got joining with us today, Scott Morman. So, Scott, welcome to the show, brother. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing pretty good. It's Friday afternoon, and the weather's nice, so I can't complain.
Amen to that. Ready to button it up for the weekend and go enjoy yourself, and maybe even go cut your own lawn. You know, never know.
Yeah, I think that's waiting for me.
There you go. That and probably the honey-do list if you're anything like me. So never a dull moment. But I'm really excited about having you on the show today. We've actually been partnered up with the Buyers folks, and this is a really, really cool opportunity to just educate you guys a little bit more about all the different equipment and product lines that these guys have. And so I'm really excited about having Scott on here. We were, just before we got started, I said, so what is your official title over there, Scott? And he said, I'm the director of Snow and Ice Products. And I said, well, now you're talking my language, because that's what we're all going into here with fall and winter. And of course, you guys know we use our Buyers Dump Insert as well. So we're going to be talking a little bit about all those different items today. So Scott, really quick, before we kind of go too far down the rabbit hole here, let me back up a step and just get to know you a little bit more. What's your background? We kind of know your title there at Buyers, but how long have you been working there, and what's some cool things that you guys have going on behind the scenes?
Sure. Well, I started back, and it feels like so long ago, and it kind of is, back in 2005, right kind of maybe a couple of years after Buyers really started getting into product development and some innovations. I was brought in to launch the SnowDogg line. So my background prior to that was primarily in hydraulics, and because that's kind of the heart of the plow. You know, you can slap steel on things, but the hydraulics are really what shuts you down at 3 a.m. So that's why I was brought in to work on the SnowDogg plow.
No kid. Okay, so you've been there though since 2005, and now did they have the SnowDogg and the SaltDogg line before that, or did you help grassroots bring that up from the beginning?
Well, I got in right about the time that Buyers has been making like the old school V-box spreaders, like the gas spreaders. Okay. Since the late 90s. Okay. And you know they're all pretty much the same, and you know we did a great job selling the stainless ones into the market. About a year before I started, one of our engineers was developing our new SHPE line, the black plastic ones that have been around forever, the double-walled hoppers. And that was kind of the first SaltDogg, where we kind of took that branding and started to expand it. And since then, SaltDogg is probably the widest range of salt spreaders in the, but it definitely is the widest range of salt spreaders in the industry.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. I mean, my subcontractor, Mike Bedell, has a couple SHPE 2000s, and we have a local Site One next to us, and they have tons of Buyers product. Literally this morning, I was picking up some grass seed and some irrigation flag for, some aerations. And I actually put it on Instagram and YouTube Shorts. There was no joke, stacked double high, probably 10 to 12 wide. So we're talking 20, 30, salt spreaders here. And I said, man, they're getting ready. They're getting ready for winter. It's right around the corner. So I know I know that product line. I know a lot of other people listening and know that product line. And so that's one thing that some of you guys that do snow and salt, of course, that part about Buyers, but there's a lot of stuff too that we don't know that Buyers makes. And so that's what I want to do is just spend a few minutes with, not giving it really a pitch fest here by any means, but just educating you guys, sharing a little bit more about who they are, their story, because I know some of the product line, but I don't know all of it. And then in just a quick minute, we're going to have Scott maybe kind of go into the background and the origin story of Buyers, because they're a huge company, if I'm not mistaken, based out of Cleveland area, and they manufacture a bunch of their own stuff. They sell a bunch of products to a bunch of other people that slap their own name on it, and we're talking truck boxes. So I want to kind of dive into that a little bit more here in just a quick second and hear a little bit more from Scott. So guys, hang tight really quick with me. I'm going to get a quick sip of water. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors and announcements, and then we're going to come right on back.
Did you hear the news? The IRS is gearing up. They are adding 87,000 new IRS agents. Now is the time to make sure your financials are audit ready. Arm yourself with an accounting team that can proactively prepare you for this, starting with a solid bookkeeping foundation. Your time is best spent getting new clients or coordinating the work in the field, not scrambling for paperwork when the IRS comes knocking on your door. Get peace of mind. Work with Cycle CPA, a green industry accounting firm that will not only make sure you are audit ready, but will also highlight opportunities within your business to increase profits and cash flow. Visit their website, cyclecpa.com, and mention Brian's podcast to receive $200 off on bookkeeping and CFO services. Did you snag your tickets yet for Launchpreneur Academy Live? If not, the final day to grab yours is November 7th at midnight. After that, no more tickets. No buying ticks at the door or last-minute DMs asking Brian to do you a favor. The event, as you know, is Saturday, November 12th in Novi, Michigan. Your job is to pause the podcast right now. Head on over to launchpreneuracademy.com and secure your seats. Again, no more ticket sales after November 7th. Now, on with the show.
All right, cool deal. Well, Scott, we're going right back to you, brother. Wanted to, before we jump into a couple of the different product lines, and by the way, no notes here. We're just kind of shooting it from the hip. Before we hit start, I said, Scott, do you mind just pitching and catching a little bit? And you said, well, the show is called Unfiltered. So so we'll just jump right into it here, and correct me if I'm wrong anywhere along the way. But before we go into a couple of the different product lines, just to kind of get these guys up to speed about who you guys are and what you're doing, can you give me the inception story, the origin story about Buyers? Because again, a lot of people know the products, but at the same point, not a lot of people know the story. And when I was able to trek on down there to the mothership a couple years back to get my dump insert installed and do a video with Andy and a couple of the other guys there on the team, I was blown away. I did not know you guys manufactured a bunch of your own stuff. I didn't know how big the facility was. So can you kind of give us the elevator pitch or the highlight reel of Buyers, who you guys are and what you guys all do?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and it's a cool story, and it's a nice all-American story, because Buyers is a family. It is and continues to be a family business. I think fourth generation now with Andy. But Buyers started in 1946 with Andy's great uncle selling driveline parts out of his trunk after World War II, taking advantage of the boom in work trucks with all the surplus military vehicles and everybody coming home and all that. And so it was really a distributorship sales organization for really, 40, 45 years, which I think is where we get the culture from, where our customers, they love our customer service. I mean, if there's one thing we're good at, it's knowing how to take care of our customers. We make mistakes, everybody does. But that culture of customer service really is still going strong. And I think the family business part of it is huge.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So 1945, you guys got started or thereabouts, you were saying, but you said for about 45 years, you guys were a distributorship and, selling parts and maybe selling product. So how did it turn into the behemoth that you guys are today? Are you guys still, is that technically Cleveland area? Or where are you guys located, HQ?
Yeah, we're in Mentor, Ohio, about 30 miles east of Cleveland on the lake.
Yeah.
So, yeah, close enough.
Talk about the facility?
Sure, yeah. No, it's funny because I got here and we had just moved into our new headquarters, and we're preparing to move into a new manufacturing building that I went down and toured with my boss at the time, and it was like a football. It was like an empty football field. It just looked so huge. Didn't seem like we could ever fill it up, and we have since filled that up and blown out walls and moved. But we've got over. And I'm leaving some things out because we have several other manufacturing groups, but we've got over 500,000 square feet of manufacturing space. We've got a new expansion that's being finished up now that started during the pandemic. That's more than doubling our distribution space to more than 500,000 feet. Wow. So it's just constant. I mean, the expansion, the new equipment, we fill up fast. We're always looking for space. It's kind of fascinating.
So now, do you guys manufacture everything there, or a bunch of items? Because when I came through there, you guys were, and it's been a few years, so don't quote me. But I remember literally going from like plate steel or whatever you call it to building the plows. Andy was showing me the whole tour. I don't know if they're injection mold machines or whatever, but the hopper, for the SHP 2Ks. Those, if I'm not mistaken, were all like being done there. Or can you talk about that? Because I think it is really, really cool to see that manufacturing success.
Yeah, no, and that's why, as an engineer, Fires is an awesome place to be, because we do have so much control because we are highly vertically integrated as a technical term, but we own most of the equipment that we use, and we manufacture everything we can. So yeah, anything that's big in steel, we're making in Mentor. So yeah, it's coming in sheet steel, plate. We're forming it, lasering it, forming it, painting it, welding it, assembling it, that whole thing.
Wow.
And then the hoppers. This may no longer be the case, but for a long time we were the only spreader manufacturer in the industry that owned our own rotational molder. So it gives us a lot of flexibility on the design and making improvements and tweaks, because these are big, massive, expensive tools. And it really helps to own the people that are making the parts for you. You can kind of command a little more attention than if you're just another customer.
Sure.
So, but I mean, and our powder coat line is in the same building as our steel fabrication.
Wow.
So if the plow is probably what you saw. It's a really cool example of a kind of a U manufacturing process. The steel comes in, it gets formed, welded, all that, hangs on the paint line, comes out the paint line, goes right to assembly, ships out the door.
That's wild.
It's very efficient.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget. Andy was all excited because when you go on these show tours, and I'm sure you guys have had a lot of vendors in, company reps, distributors, everybody. It's the parade, right? We've all done it 100 times. And Andy was just, dude, we go from over here to over here, and this takes 1 minute, and this takes 10 minutes, and we can have this done in so many hours or so many days. And I said, I didn't know that you guys built so much stuff in house. I didn't know you manufactured so much stuff in house. We went through the truck boxes. I know we're kind of hitting on a couple of the product lines already, but can you talk about the truck? What would you call them? The boxes. You guys are very, very notorious for those. The quality. They're on many of the F450s, 550s, the big dump trucks, if you will. Talk about that for a second, because Andy was so excited taking me through there. He's like, this product line is blowing up. Yeah, no, that's kind of the bread and butter. That's the product line that keeps the lights on for everybody else, because it doesn't snow all year, but people do need truck boxes all year. And and I may have sold this short. We were probably manufacturing those in the 80s. It's definitely one of our oldest product lines. And as a result, it is possibly the most refined, efficient production process I've ever seen anywhere. And that's including every year. Now we've got single piece backs. I mean, there are a lot of manufacturing things that aren't obvious to the end user necessarily, but they make for a better quality product, and they've helped us keep the prices reasonable.
and, keeping it a value leader on the market, because it's just getting more and more competitive, obviously.
Now, do you guys sell those aftermarket, or, well, I guess everything's kind of aftermarket, but what I mean is if somebody's ordering a truck and they want to put a Monroe dump on there or something, does the dealer order that box? Can an individual customer order that box and, equip it on their own, or how does that whole process work?
I think there's some of both. I mean, we have dealers that are selling, end users cash and carry. We don't really sell direct to end users.
Okay.
But plenty of our dealers do. But yeah, I mean, the best and the coolest trucks, these pictures come from our upfitters that are just wizards at integrating all these things into a functional and really often really cool looking truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Toolboxes.
Well, I remember taking a local dealership right down the road from me, taking a dump truck out just for a test drive. It was, $75,000. This was 3-4 years ago, by the way. And, God, Lord knows what it is now, right? It's probably $100,000. But it was beautiful. It had the, like chrome, boxes and, the big tool boxes that you guys know behind like the back window. And this one had a big dump insert, a Monroe dump or whatever. And I remember opening up the cab or the boxes and it said buyers all over. And I went, oh my gosh, like I didn't know that they made all of this different stuff. So a lot of you guys know when you're buying your new dump trucks out there, a lot of the trucks nowadays have these different boxes all stored up underneath the carriage, underneath the tailgates, the tail beds. They're all over the place. And look at the sticker. More than likely, it's going to be a buyer's products. And it's like, this is one of those funny things I was going to say. It's one of those things you don't know that's the company that makes it, and then you later down the road connect the dots and you go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was the company that was making this the whole time.
Well, I tell you what, and yeah, that's a really good point, because we met with a bunch of our dealers last week, and one of the things that our hydraulics products manager, Mark Lyerly, challenged them was to kind of take a step back and look at the truck and think of all the places where buyers could go. These are for the buyers, dealers.
Sure.
Because when people used to ask me what buyers did, I was doing the snowplow, so I knew what I did. But I was like, well, and I kind of look at the catalog. And anything that attaches to a truck, we probably do make or will make or have chosen not to make for any reason. But I mean, drive lines, hydraulics, lighting, toolboxes, towing products, hitch plates, snowplow, salt spreader, just the list goes on and on. And on.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, we have some dealers out there that use a lot of buyers' products in their truck.
Well, I know our local Site One down the road. Not to just keep bringing them up to bring them up, but I love Site One. They've been partners with us on the show, and we use them every day in our company. But they have the whole rack inside for the lighting, light bar. All the different equipment. I know there's a whole section. It doesn't have a huge buyer sign on top. It might, but I don't think it does at our local branch. But I know it's all Site One product because they have the catalogs all over the place. So it's
they're a huge partner.
Yeah, and that's again like those SHPs that were out front in the spring. They have 10 dump inserts stacked on top. From stainless to here. Let's talk about that. We'll just jump, kind of shift gears to the next product line, because I really want to spend just a couple minutes on each topic for you guys. So if you are in the market for one question, just to take it back, when I was getting started was, where do people get this stuff? How do people know these things? Like the Brian's Law Maintenance, when he was 20, 21, just getting started. I didn't know that people went to a local equipment dealer instead of Home Depot, right? I didn't know people didn't go to Menards to get bagged mulch. They were buying in bulk from a local dealer. And so one of the goals of the podcast is to help you guys connect the dots. Now, I know some of you guys have been in business for 10, 20 years, and you've done millions and millions of dollars. And again, this is no brainer, right? We've praise the Lord, but don't forget, there was a point in our business where we're all, naked and scared, and trying to figure this thing out. And so you go into your local Site One or your equipment dealer, and they're saying, hey, we've got dump inserts, and that can help you with carrying material to and fro. So one of the big product lines that has been a transformative, probably one of the top 3, top 5 tools in my company. No line, no hype, no promo, is my dump insert. I have and I will talk about it till I'm blue in the face, because it eliminated, Scott, so many bottlenecks in my company, with transporting material to and fro, transporting leaf material to and fro, mulch, salt if we need it. I mean, everything. I mean, and I have a smaller dump insert. I've got the 5.5 or whatever, 6.5 foot one, the smaller one. But it's done wonders for my company. Can you talk about that whole product line for a couple minutes, and then we'll get into snow here in just a quick second and probably land the plane there. But I don't want to take too much of your time. But talk to me about the dump insert. Well, what's the reception like that been from the industry and the community the last 5, 10, 20 years?
Sure. DumperDogg. Oh yeah, that was maybe 10-ish years ago or so. We decided to, we kind of pick and choose what we're going to get into, and we decided to get into these dump inserts and launched the stainless, carbon steel, and my favorite, the poly, which is not nearly as popular, but it is easily my favorite because it's damn near indestructible. Those have been very well received, and I know we recently, in the last year or so, did a complete redesign of the hoist mechanism and understructure. We're constantly, like every couple of years at least, looking for big opportunities for improvements. So that's given it a nice boost in sales. But yeah, you're right. It's incredibly versatile. I wish I had a truck big enough for one.
Sure.
Even as a homeowner, it's incredibly useful to. And it was always the most popular product for the engineers to sign out for testing for the weekend, to go test moving some mulch around or rocks
that's convenient,
or ripping down a deck from somewhere and moving it. So yeah, I love it.
Well, and that's I'll tell you guys, like when you have a pickup truck, an F-150, an F-250, or whatever, I always say like the best business equipment setup for a lot of companies. I mean, from Florida to Midwest is a ideal situation. What I've noticed is like a nice big dog, F-550 dump truck. Pick your brand, but some nice big crew cab, even regular cab, but dump truck, and then a nice big enclosed trailer. And of course, there's 100 different variations of the ideal equipment setup. I actually did a whole podcast on that. But nonetheless, I've seen so many people with dump trucks. But for those of you guys that are living in HOAs or small, homes where you can't park a big dump truck, or the HOA is going to get on you, or an apartment complex is going to get on you, or you just don't have a place to park a big dump truck, you don't have a yard or a shop and all that mess. If you have a 3/4 ton or above, and you can add this dump insert in. We've lived in apartments for 8-9 years. We've never had the HOA or the management or anybody, whatever you call it, come over and say, "Hey, get that big old dump truck out of here." Right? It's just a dump insert in a truck. Now, that doesn't mean that the capacity is any different than a dump truck. I mean, besides the size of the dump insert. Some of these Monroe ones, they're not cheap. They're 10, 12, 15 grand, and they can hold 8, 10, 12 yards, for example. But the dump insert from buyers is, add some high sides, add some walls. You can get 2 to 4 yards of material in there. We have a 5-yard leaf box we build every fall. It's been transformative for my company. And I always say, like, one of the two big products, Scott, that have changed a lot of people's businesses, a dump trailer and a dump truck. And so if you don't want to drop 12, 15 grand these days on a dump trailer, maybe consider a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 dump insert until you can get that $70,000 dump truck. Scott, any thoughts or inputs on that one? It's like my passion project right there. I love talking about the dump insert.
Yeah, no, and I think transformative is the word. I mean, every once in a while, you're lucky enough to have a solution to a problem that people actually have. I mean, engineers love to solve problems that people don't have. In
Sure.
this case, I think dump inserts really, like you said, they do fill a role. It's hard to, hey, I'm going to get into landscaping. I'm going to go spend $250,000 on equipment. That's not how it usually works. These guys are usually building up, incrementally year to year. And like you said, eventually they get their big truck. Now it's going to take that much longer because of how much more they cost.
Oh, yeah.
So even better market for a dump insert now.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can always find a used one on Facebook Marketplace. You can always sell yours and get 60, 70, 80 cents on the dollar. I mean, they're still useful. They last forever. I mean, mine's going on 5 years. It's bulletproof. I've literally not done a thing. I should actually probably catch up with you after the podcast and go, hey, do I need to change the hydraulic oil out? Because I've put that thing through the ringer, and I can only imagine how many hundreds of yards of material we put through that thing. Literally, maybe thousands. And it's it's still holding. I got the steel one, the black on black, and people were like, "Oh, it's going to rust out. It's going to fall apart." Michigan winters, it's still going strong. Okay, it's got a little rust on a couple spots, but it is solid. Okay, so I think I can get 10 years out of that thing, no problem. And by the time we're ready to do that, like you said, to go full circle, we'll probably invest in a big dog dump truck. You know what I mean? But in the meantime, it's been great for us.
Yeah. No, I've seen a couple around here that are easily 10 plus years old, just driving around. So
yeah, amen. Well, let's shift gears to your wheelhouse. We'll spend 2-3 minutes here, and then we can probably land the plane. I don't want to get in between a man and his weekend here when the honey-do list. I mean, that's going to start as soon as you get home. So you're like, no, let's go longer, right? But let's talk. Let's talk about the salt and ice products. I think you guys are making big splash in those categories. I think you guys are a market leader or dominate the salt spreader game for sure. But that's your bread and butter. Can you talk to me about the salt spreaders, maybe a couple different items there, and then the V plow, which you guys might have seen on YouTube before, and then you guys some new releases as well. So what's everything got going on with SaltDogg and SnowDogg?
Yeah, boy. How much time do you have?
I know, right? As long as you need.
So I came in, for the SnowDogg, and then after about 3 years, ended up running engineering for about 10 years, which was great and awesome. And I know it was a good fit for me. But a couple of years ago, I went to, I sat down with management. I said, look, our snow and ice products really need some dedicated, I was doing that. I was basically the product manager for them, but I was like, look, we really need to focus on the snow and ice products so we can continue to grow and kind of not rest on our laurels. So we ended up bringing in a director of engineering who's been here for about 2-3 years, so I could focus on the snow and ice. So now I can answer questions about toolboxes and stuff, but I don't have to worry about them now.
Right.
Like I said, they keep the lights on, and that's good for me. But so snow and ice. So as far as SaltDogg goes, we talked about the SHP spreaders, which I think most people have seen around. And Site One sells a ton of them. The tailgate spreaders are probably older than me. Actually, we just discontinued our kind of legacy old school tailgate spreaders and have replaced them with some newer, slicker 2-stage ones. But in the last about 8 years ago, the Pro Series was launched, which is worth mentioning because it took a while for people to understand what it was.
Okay.
Buyers has always had a reputation for being, the value product in the market. The SHP is really simple, low maintenance, low cost, great entry point. Again, we're talking about guys that are trying to get the most for their money. But at one point we realized, our competitors were out there with products that were a lot more expensive. But they had bigger augers, bigger motors, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So we realized we needed to kind of come up with more of a direct response to those. And that's kind of where the Pro Series comes in. Starting at the same size, we got 1,500, 2-yard, 1.5 yard, 2-yard, 3-yard, 4-yard, and 6-yard. So these get much, much bigger augers, much more powerful motors, also available in chain. And the nice thing about them is they're still less expensive, of course, because that's kind of our thing. But they're a lot simpler. We don't like putting in parts. We don't like, complicated mechanisms. We like simple things that are easy to fix, that ideally don't break. And that's really, so our dealers have now learned how to sell the SHP versus the Pro.
Okay.
Some guys, I've sat with some customers that they've got a bunch of SHPs, and I started telling them about the Pro, and they had never really even heard of it.
Mm.
And that's kind of where we're starting to get some traction as people learn what the differences are.
So help me really quick what the difference is. What's the difference with the Pro? It looks like a big, V-Box type spreader compared to maybe the more nimble SHP, line. So and so who's which product? While we got you, which one is for who, and what size truck maybe?
Sure. So as far as the size of the truck goes, it's really about the yardage. So, the 1.5 and the 2-yard, we have the SHP and the Pro. Those are really for the pickups. as far as what the real difference is, like I said, the SHV is kind of a price point. It's got a small auger. I mean, here's the reality. The SHV works. It's been around forever. It's very simple. It's got one bearing, a stainless steel auger, and an auger motor.
Mm-hmm.
Removable chute, real simple. The Pro, we took that. So the outside doesn't look that different, just from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
But the Pro has a full length 5-inch auger. So it's running the whole length of the hopper. It's going to get every bit of material out of there. You don't need to use the vibrator nearly as much with the Pro. With the Pro, you can just kind of juice it with the vibrator occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a larger swing away chute, so you can dump bulk material at the end of your run without having to take the chute off. It's higher current motors and controller. So it's really it's the Cadillac compared to the Chevy.
Okay.
So if you're coming in to shop, I mean, really, once you've got an established business, you know where your money's coming from. The cost of the equipment is kind of a small part of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're paying an extra $1,000 or $1,500 for a Pro, and you need the benefits that gives you, like let's say you need the chain because you can get the chain in the Pro, that's well worth the extra investment.
Okay, and you're talking like a pintle chain versus like a standard auger.
Yeah.
Okay, cool deal. Okay. And that's really good to know. Like that, and that's the point of the podcast for some of you guys listening. And you're like, A, who's buyers? B, I've known those salt spreaders because my sub's got one or my buddy who plows snow has one. And you're like, I didn't even know that was buyers. And it's so wild. Like there's so many brands out there that I didn't know who they are. And you guys, like myself, have driven by their building, 100 times, on the highway or a branch. And you're like, I didn't know that company owned such and such or made such and such. Right. So that's really, really helpful. Talk to me while we get you for just one more quick minute about the snowplow line, because I think you had said to grow, to become and maintain, market leader, you had to really shift gears to, take that thing to the next level. So what does that statement mean? Where were you guys and resting on your laurels? What did you guys already have out there, and then what have you guys coming up with now?
Well, yeah. So earlier you had mentioned being a market leader in the spreaders, which I think that's a safe statement. Between the range of our product line and the number of them that are out there,
mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely true. With the plows, we're still the scrappy underdog. We started. We got into this later than everyone else, which really creates a tremendous amount of advantages because when we got into it, the truck lighting systems were already becoming a pain. So we started with a more complicated lighting harness in terms of relays that works for every truck.
Okay.
So we only have one truck lighting harness. We only have one. Our whole truck side is the same across all plows, which is huge because some of these brands that have been around for a very long time have had to deal with many more changes in the truck, so they end up with like 13 different harnesses and all this kind of stuff. So SnowDogg has been expanding pretty much, usually a new product at least every year. But the latest and greatest, which I think really was kind of pushing the envelope in terms of weight reduction and strength, is our VMX 75, which is a 7.5-foot V plow designed for half-ton trucks.
Okay.
So it needs to get to that 500-pound-ish weight so that they can carry it properly. I mean, I realize people put things on trucks that, so not everybody's paying that much attention to the weight. But if you've ever driven a truck that truly was at too large of a plow on it without the right amount of ballast, it's not something you ever want to do again. So it's important to get these plows to the right weight so the manufacturers are happy, so we're happy, and then your dealer doesn't have to worry about you coming back with a broken suspension or something like that.
Sure.
No, it was tested both on screen with the finite element analysis and a ton of in-season and summer testing. We've got a full-time tester that just shovels gravel around our parking lot. Poor guy.
There you go.
But so I mean, this is replacing our VMD 75, which weighed about 700 pounds.
Okay.
And I would put it up against it, pound for pound, strength for strength, any day of the week. It's a great little plow.
Okay. And then where do you guys go from there then? You also have the 3/4 ton, the 1 ton trucks, plow. Is that the VMX2 or is that the new one or is that replacing maybe something or?
So the VMX is replacing our VMD, and that's on the small end or the light end of our V plows. Really, on the going up from there, we've got our commercial line, which is the VXF, which really is for the 3/4 and 1 ton trucks, and then our VXX, which is for the class 5 and 6 trucks, or 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
The much bigger trucks. Once you get past that, then you get into our Muni line, which there isn't really a V plow per se. But what I find cool about Buyers Engineering is a lot of our, in the market, there are companies that own a pickup truck plow company and they own a municipal truck plow company, and so they've got the wide range of products. But we have everybody in one place. So we've got our municipal spreader guy, who it might be the same person as our pickup truck spreader guy. Well, actually, in this case, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the plow. So we've got maybe different problems, maybe similar problems with solutions that kind of go back and forth. So we might find a problem in a homeowner product that, we solved for the municipal product. There's a lot of cross-pollination, I guess, between these markets. Whereas if these guys were all separate and worried about one particular product line, we'd kind of lose out on it.
Sure. Well, like you said, now you've got the full portfolio and the catalog. I think the VXF plow is the one I know the most. I think I saw Stanley with that one before. And he said that's with chains and stuff, instead of, if I'm not mistaken, for the hydraulics up and down or whatever. He's a big fan of the chains because then he can adjust it, or if something fails, he can just adjust the chains, and he's like, nope, we can just tow it back to the shop to get it fixed. The VMX2, is that the newest one then for the half ton market? Is that what it is?
Yeah, the VMX2 it's the VMX 75 Gen 2.
Okay.
There really was, in all fairness, there was never a Gen 1 for the VMX, so I guess we're kind of cheating. But
sure.
Yeah, all of our plows now have been updated to the Gen 2 mount and architecture. So they've all got common. We have a big lift frame and a little lift frame.
Oh, okay.
And everything else is, the power units are common, the cylinders are common, which is great for our dealers and great for, a guy's got a fleet and he doesn't want to have 4 different springs and 6 different solenoids and all that.
Sure. Well, a lot of guys actually ask me about plowing with a half ton. I of course always recommend a 3/4 ton and above, but there's a lot of people that get started with a half ton, or homeowners, or like you said, the guy who's a contractor and he puts it on his Jeep or his Suburban, or whatever. And so some of these half ton plows are actually pretty popular out there.
We've actually done some digging in this and talking to my colleagues and stuff. And often, these half ton, so our MDs, which is a straight blade version, and the VMX, those are going to end up on like supervisors' trucks or, the cleanup guy that, he wants a nice, comfy truck to drive around in. Mm-hmm. So he's not riding a buckboard. And, something a little more suited to his truck. But yeah, then of course you do have, a good number of homeowners that are buying these plows for their smaller vehicles too.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially when you get somebody a little bit more rural, they are the first responder, so they got a couple 100-yard driveway or something like that. Very, very typical. So, no, that's really, really helpful. We'll probably kind of land the plane here. I really appreciate you taking time to be on the podcast and spend a little bit of time with us. Thanks again for partnering up with us, the whole Buyers team, with the fall and winter shop tour series that we've been doing. One thing that I was going to ask, is where can people learn more and then actually shop for the product? Are they in certain dealers or certain parts of the country, or where can people get a catalog? Basically go down the rabbit hole to check out the Buyers product line.
Sure. I think the best answer, if you don't happen to drive past a big dog head sign on your way to work every day, is go to our website at buyersproducts.com, and you can check out the products. You can look at where to buy, and you can select by product line if you're looking for toolboxes or plows or whatever. And it'll show you. And we've got pretty good coverage, so you'll be able to find a dealer in your area. And by all means, give them a call and pick their brains, because it's funny, as a homeowner, when I go buy yard equipment, I stopped going to Home Depot. I try to go to the local dealers, partly because they know what they're talking about. And really, it's not like it's that much more expensive to get, a good product with a good warranty from someone you can trust and go back to. So
I like it.
I can't speak highly enough of our dealer network.
Amen. Well, it's funny. While you said that, I'm on the Buyers Product website, and one of the first tabs there is where to buy. Super convenient. And then I just punched in a couple of the different product lines. There's a selector there. We have Site 1 Landscape Supply in Farmington Hills, Site 1 Landscape Supply in Wixom, VersaLift Midwest, STE. I know of them. Bosick Truck Center, Louise Landscaping. So this is just within, I don't know, I'm looking at the map here, 20, 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of where I live. And so with any major city or anywhere you guys are listening in, the point I'm trying to make is these guys are all over the place. And again, it's one of those things where you don't know sometimes that certain people exist, or you don't know the product line, or you don't know what they are, but you've seen them 100 times. That's my point. And I feel like that was one of my conversations with the Buyers folks. I said, you guys are awesome. You make so much great product, but I just want to expose and share and bring some awareness to my audience about all the great stuff that you guys have, because I feel like sometimes those connections aren't always made unless you're going to an Equip Expo, or maybe, like you said earlier, Scott, a local dealer that you're driving down the road and see the brand on the side. Like, hey, we carry SaltDogg, DumperDogg, right? So it's one of those things where around here where I live, I'd say every other truck has a SaltDogg spreader in the back tailgate. And every other truck, the market share is split, the pie graph, between the other 4 or 5 major brands out there that also make salt spreaders, right? So those guys are all fighting for half the market share. And I'm not saying this is what Buyers' market share is. I'm just saying where I live, most of everybody in the tailgate has a salt spreader from Buyers. And then the other half of the guys, it's divided 6 ways to Sunday, to the other brands out there. So you guys are a quote unquote market leader in my area for darn sure, for good reason. You guys make a bunch of great product. My friend Mike Bedell, he's had a couple of your guys' salt spreaders in the years, and you guys have made us hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we appreciate it. So that's kind of what I got from my end, brother. And anything you want to leave these guys, but if not, we'll probably button it up.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate the opportunity, because we do. The Buyers brand specifically does kind of fly under the radar. But yeah, once you say SaltDogg or SnowDogg, especially SaltDogg, like, oh yeah, I've seen that. Mm-hmm. And ScoopDogg, you see those in mall parking lots and stuff. So yeah, it's been kind of exciting to see the brand grow over the years, and hopefully we'll just keep getting better and better.
I love it. Well, we'll keep doing what you guys are doing, and shout out to everybody behind the scenes back at the Buyers HQ. I've been able to network with a bunch of great guys lately to have you guys partner up with us on this tour, which has been super exciting, and we're just doing our part to help try to make those connections as well. So thank you to you and the rest of the team back there for reinvesting and pouring it back into the community and helping these guys all grow that are listening in. These are the end users that are using your guys' product and helping them to put food on the table and take care of their family as well. So we appreciate everything you guys are doing. So Scott, thank you again. That's all I got, brother. We'll button it up.
All right. Hey, thank you again for this opportunity.
You bet, brother. All right, cool deal, guys. Well, thank you so much for the Buyers folks again, taking time out of their day to join us on the podcast, guys. I know it's a little bit more of an education session for you guys out there. It always is for me. And again, I love learning about what's going on in the industry, the community, and we always try to be a good, valuable resource for you guys. So check them out. Next time you guys are walking by or driving by a dealer, an open house, Equip Expo, grab a catalog, go on the website, check out the product selector. I've been on so many websites at 2 a.m. with the product selector tool, trying to outfit my trucks, my equipment, my rig, my next purchase. And I would encourage you guys to check out everything that's going on at Buyers. So without that, all things being said, we appreciate them and everything they got going on. Check out the rest of the shop tour series as well, guys. We have that playlist going on right now, and it's been a big hit, especially on YouTube as well. So, all right, guys, well, over and out. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, and we look forward to catching up with all of you guys here on the next one.
Accurate estimating starts with accurate accounting. In previous years, you may have been able to get by based on your gut feeling or rough calculations. However, this year, business financial risk has increased due to fluctuating and rising expenses. To ensure you are hitting your profit and cash flow goals, it is now crucial to know your numbers. The accounting firm Cycle CPA currently helps over 175 green industry businesses maneuver in these hectic times through a solid bookkeeping foundation, monthly reports, and continuous advisory meetings. Visit their website, cyclecpa.com, and mention Brian's podcast to receive $200 off on bookkeeping and CFO services.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
Marty here with one more reminder before we wrap everything up, and that is about the Black Friday sales that are coming to LawnpreneurAcademy.com. Yes, our biggest, baddest, best sales of the year over that weekend of Black Friday through Cyber Monday. Make a little note on your phone, set a reminder to check out LawnpreneurAcademy.com for big savings.